Yeah, I'll be there for that tonight. Sure, love it.
Look how quiet he's got. Thursday?
All right, 7 o'clock, we'll go ahead and get the meeting started. We'll start with roll call. Melissa. Here. Jill. Here. I am here. Lloyd.
Here.
Ben.
Here.
We have our new city clerk treasurer, Dale Powers, here with us tonight. And Wendy, Tom, Justin, and Sean down there. Let's stand for pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have 4 open forums tonight. Do we want to go ahead and put those right away at the beginning or wait till the end? I say we move to the top.
So sorry, moving on between 6 and 7.
We'll go right underneath the service line, warranty program with open forums. So right above Wright County Sheriff's Department.
Can I just make a suggestion?
Sure.
Since pretty much every month that we get one, we always end up moving it, can we
Should we
just
just
permanently
permanently
move
move
it to a different spot? I mean,
Makes sense, yes. Do we need a motion for that? No? Okay. Okay, so then, like, starting next month, let's just go with it right under the consent agendas. And then we are adding service line warranty right under the consent agenda as well. And then, under personnel, the appointment of Dale Powers, item 3. Is there an approval for the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the adjustments.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 5-0. Any questions on the consent agenda? Tom?
Yep.
On the legal services, we're normally at 2,500. What got us up to the 2624?
There was an employment matter that had to be reviewed, and so.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you. Is there an approval then for the consent agenda? I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Okay.
Aye.
All right, then we have the service line warranty program. Oh, did we put it before him? We did. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think he's out there. Actually, I made a mistake. Sorry. We're gonna do the open forum first, so that's my fault. First one in was Greg Yeomans.
I'm Lee Short. I just wanted to thank you for allowing the Boy Scouts to use the venue here at Community Center for their garage sale. It went very well. The boys earned a good amount for their trip to Sea Base, which is an expensive trip for them, about $1,500–1,600 per boy. The things that we had left over went to Goodwill in Monticello and also to the WCCA lending closet as well, and then another charity that will pick up from them. So everything went to good use. We'd also like to consider doing another one in February before they depart, because their final fund payment is due in March or first part of April.
Where did you say they were going?
Sea Base in St. Thomas.
Oh,
They're going to go sail for a week in the Caribbean.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Good trip.
Do they need chaperones?
I tried that. They do have one spot. Thanks,
all
guys.
right, thank you. That was nice. Joe?
Concerned by me and a few of the neighbors in our area, maybe Sean can be better addressed towards you and your department, but on the corner, there's actually just west of County Road 12 on Aspen, there's that fire hydrant that seems to be leaking. It's got now has a cover over it, or has for months. The concern is last winter, Aspen was an ice rink. And it's what it does, after a while, it just keeps getting thicker and thicker. The city guys, I know when they go out and plow, they do their best, they try to get it up. But with the weather getting colder, it's still leaking, and we're afraid that Aspen is gonna be an ice rink again. So when you come out of our neighborhood, out of County Road 12, that whole corner there, all the way down to the drain is a big ice rink. It's to the point where the one guy that has it on his property can't mow that area because when he drives over with his lawnmower, it just sinks.
You said it's covered now?
It's got a lot of service.
It's shut off and it's still leaking.
It's shut off and it's still leaking. Okay. Yeah, our concern is just with the cold weather, if there's something that we can look, that you guys can look at doing with it.
I've contacted a contractor that normally works on our repairs, and he's promised me twice that he'd come to Montrose and look at it, and he has yet to do it, so I will put his feet to the fire.
Yeah, just get it looked at, just so we don't have that ice rink out there. I know last year we were actually, some points were having to go out on the opposite side of Aspen, on the opposite side of Median.
Has this been
because
leaking
it
that
was-
long?
It's been, I think it's been at least a year. It's been leaking.
We're not quite certain if it is actual water or groundwater coming up out of the, percolating up out of the valve, so we're gonna put some microphones on and see if we can get it tested here, see if it's running.
Yeah, we just wanted to see what could be done about it, so we don't end up with the same issues that we had last winter.
That whole area is reclaimed swamp, so.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thomas?
I have 3 dogs. I went to the city office to get my dog licenses on Friday, and at that time is when I found out that I was only supposed to have 2 unless I had permission of the city council. Dogs are a big part of my life. I love them a lot. I wouldn't have to want to get rid of one. They're never outside without me. One of them is up almost 12 years old, and would appreciate very much to be able to keep all 3.
What kind of dogs are they?
2 pit bulls and a Chihuahua mix. Very friendly. All my neighbors like them.
Have you had the 3 dogs for quite a while?
One is going on 12. I've had that since 8 weeks old. One is almost 3. I've had that since 8 weeks old. And the other one my daughter gave me, and that one's 9 months old.
Yes. Any opinions?
Never had any neighbors or anything.
Are you new to town?
No, I've been here since 1989.
Oh, okay, okay.
I guess, I've seen a bunch of other families around here with 3 dogs, and I know there's a lot of dogs around, and I did, when my daughter offered me this other dog, because my one is getting up there in age, I didn't think twice to look.
Right, okay. And we've never had any complaints, so, I don't see an issue. Anybody?
The only thing that I would ask is that we go along with this, the contingent that if you want dog passes away, you keep it then at 2 dogs and not go back up to
Correct,
3.
I'm on board with that.
Okay.
And then you'll go to City Hall tomorrow and register the 3rd dog? Or this week? This week?
I'm working, it's been every other week. I'm working 5 10-hour days. I don't get off work till 4:30. Sometimes they let us go early. If I got let go early and I could make it there by 4:30, yes. Otherwise, the next time I could get up there is a week from Friday.
That's fine.
I think within the next month.
Yeah, that's fine. Not a problem.
Yeah, within a timely fashion.
It would be no later than a week from this Friday.
Okay. All right. Then, is there a motion? For him to allow 3, to keep his 3 dogs?
I'll make a motion to allow Thomas, is your last name Smith?
Correct.
Thomas Smith to have 3 dogs at his residence until the eldest one passes, at which point you'd go back down to the 2.
I'll second that motion.
All right, Ben,
Aye.
Lloyd,
Aye.
I'll vote aye, Jill.
Aye.
And Melissa.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Yep. And Jenny.
Hi, I'm Jenny Rose. I'm no longer a resident of Montrose, but I have talked to the mayor in Chicago about the property at 426 Dillon.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes. The property has been sold and is on the market, and I found out it has been sold, but it has not been disposed of the mold that's in there. So I'm just trying to find out where the city's at, because I've been working with the city now since 2011. I'm trying to get changes. And I've talked to Joe McDonald, and I know nobody was talked to then, and Department of Labor, just seeing that where you guys are at on making sure safety and people are actually following
The people that are selling the house right now, have they lived in the house?
No, we were the last owners. We had a court case, we settled out of court, and it's imminent danger to live there.
I believe if you, because I learned some of this when I was going through buying my house, if you did not physically live there and witness it, you don't have to disclose it.
I have witnessed it. I have tried for 5 years for the city of Montrose to get up there. And now, because of all this, now I'm running for the 2018 governor race. So I'm a candidate for governor. And one of my, platforms is housing safety. And right now, I started in 2011, and you guys adopted the 2006 codes, the national codes, and yet nobody's following them. You guys have Metro West that is doing the inspections, and then back in 2011, he didn't want nothing to do with it. He knew there was a problem, if there was a violation, and it was not passed. That house is a danger, and you're gonna have another family move in there.
Are they
Somebody
having-
needs to inspect it. So I'm just saying, we got sick, I got permanent lung damage from that house. And we finally had to give up our house. We had to walk away. Every state official, Joe McDonald, Department of Labor, a lot of people. So I'm just trying to find out where you guys are at, because I know I've come to you guys several times. I've talked to the mayor, I talked to the previous mayor, Greg Newman, and nothing was done. And I talked to Local Banker and see if they disclose it. They did not disclose it. So I would not want another family living there, because if you get a child, they're gonna get sick. And mold is nothing, it's nothing to mess with, because it's a safety hazard. And and also there's two issues. One issue is the air exchange was never and properly installed. So there's your violation right there, because you have to have the proper insulation, HRV working. It never worked from the day one, and now with all the water pouring underneath the house and the mold growing up. I do got pictures, if you want to see pictures. And our insurance company canceled our insurance policy because of the nature of that house.
So is there, there had to be an inspection again.
Nobody.
That's up to the homeowner though, to have that inspection?
There's several times I've lived there, I've cleaned the mold up, you don't see it. Once you paint over it and you wipe it up, you won't see it. You won't see it again for probably about 6 months. Winter's coming up now, we had to have our window open 24/7 to be able to breathe. That house does not have indoor air quality because of the air exchange, and no, it's not inspected. I warned, like I said, during the litigation, the person that bought the house, he couldn't do nothing with the house until our lawsuit was done. And I warned him. I said I would walk away from this house and I would not buy it. He still bought it, he flipped it, and now he's selling it, now it's sold. The closing is October 27th. And that's why I wanted it done before we moved out of the house. It was a tough decision. We had to walk away from our house after 10 years of paying on a house, and it was brand new. And there's other houses out there that I prefer that are kind of like ours. But ours was the worst case scenario. But I can definitely show you the pictures. I just hate to have someone move in there and Metro West aware of this and nobody inspects it. That's who needs inspector. Because when he came in there, it was Rob. He did not want nothing to do with it. He said if he would have came in and inspected it before, he said he would have never passed it. He's the one that signed the COC. And it should have never been signed. It was not properly built.
So wouldn't the inspector though be checking out the air exchanger now and noticing that as well?
The air exchanger, no, yes, because it is so hard. The air exchanger is really hard because it just started in 2006 when that's when they were required to be put in the house, and now it's right on. And if you don't, in a brand new house, you're not going to see it right away because eventually the water builds. And if the air exchange did work fine, it probably would work a little bit for the moisture. Our moisture was running at 72%. Winter and summer, when that caused the molding of all the windows, the 2x4s, and now the foundation of the house, the low barriers is damaged, and that's going to cost well over what the house is worth. I just would like to see you guys, you guys adopted, Montrose did adopt the international code, so they are responsible. And I have talked to Durenberger, I don't know if you know him, and Ken Peterson, the Department of Labor, and they said you have to go to the city is responsible. And that's why I was hoping that I would get the inspection out there before I left, and they would have probably not passed and they would have to fix it. But now that I've been working with the Department of Commerce on this, but he said now it's, since it's out of my hands and it's in someone else's hands, now it's gonna be hearsay. So, since you guys were aware of this in 2011, I was hoping that you would do something, hopefully inspect this property before it actually goes to closing. Because if they do have their own inspector come in, they're not gonna see it. Because the way the air changes out. Because they're gonna say is, I've had like 6 people come out there and inspect the air exchanger. For one, it's not built right. You're supposed to have a 50-50 equal. One number is 183, the other one, there's more air coming in, and it sits there and it does not go back out. There's no filtration back outside of the house. So that's, you can't tell. You can hook it up many number of ways, but after the 3 people that I've had out there, the professionals, so that it should not have been hooked up that way. And also, if you look at the permits, the way they are, one of them says they need to finish it. I don't have the finished report on that one. Said it was ever completed. But if that air exchange is really looked at, it would not pass. But that ain't the only issue. The issue is now that the low bearing of the property is damaged because of all the water that went under, because the grading was never done twice. Woodside never properly did a second grading to make sure the water ran away from the house. And also where you got the swamp behind there, it's just kind of below the water level. So I'm going to give it one more shot to you guys to, because it's going to be a liability issue.
Yeah, I was away here. Okay, so are you the owner of the property?
I was the owner up until July 15th.
Who is the owner of the property currently?
Currently, property Ken Pfeiffer is.
Ken Pfeiffer.
Yes, he's a broker. He owns, Derek, do you remember? He owns a management company.
And he flipped the property and sold it to another private individual?
Yes, he had the property, and we kept an eye on the property because I don't want this in the hands of anybody else. After what it did to us, no way. It makes you sick. I told you, I got lung damage because of this house.
Sure, so how do you know in the flip that he didn't mitigate the mold problem?
Because I have a realtor that looks, you can look it up online. If it's like, he is the broker for RE/MAX. He is the actual seller. So it has been sold through RE/MAX. And I talked to Coldwell Banker in Buffalo, and she said it would, if it is disclosed, it would show disclosed. It's not disclosed.
Okay, well, as a city attorney, I have a bit of an issue with the city stepping in and interfering with a private contract between 2 private parties.
Right.
However, I do understand what you're saying, where there may be a public health concern here. If city council wants, I can certainly take a look, but I would caution that if you step in, private sale here, the purchaser has their obligation to do their due diligence, just as you said, to determine whether or not the house is livable. Obviously, if the seller of the home is not disclosing or there's something like that, then they're engaging in nefarious activity, potentially fraud. That's a steep allegation, and I don't want the city to step in between these 2 private parties transacting a sale when they have their own responsibilities and their own obligations to ensure that they are doing the proper thing. I can look at it on behalf of the city to make sure on the public health side if there's any obligation that the city has. But aside from what I may find, I would advise the city not to step in between these 2 private parties.
Well, I understand that, but we owned it for 10 years. I've been coming to you guys for 2011, and I even got a letter from the lawyer because I myself is going to hold the city of Montrose responsible for the damage to that property. Because every time I came to the city, I didn't get the answers. I only got Rob out there one time, and he says, I'm not getting involved. He wouldn't touch it. He would not come back out, and like I said, I've talked to many people about this. The capital legislation, I'm just saying is that I have called you guys before the house was sold, when I owned it. You guys didn't want to come forward, so I'm just.
I appreciate that.
And I just hope that you guys make different changes regarding this, because when I come forward as governor in 2018, this is one of my main platforms, is to make sure that cities, if someone comes to you guys and own a house, to make sure that you guys do step up to the plate.
Are you saying that it was the city's obligation to come and take care of the mold in your
The
home?
city's obligation is to send the inspector back out and make sure there is no violations.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll look into it.
Because the city adopts it, you guys are responsible to send them out, and if you guys don't do anything, that's where the Department of Labor and Industry step in. And if I showed you pictures of the house, you can see how much concerns I have, you know, that's why I got help. This is my last chance, and this is my last time I'm gonna come forward. But I think it's important that the city does get involved in making sure houses are properly built and people do get involved in this.
Can you tell me what year you received the letter from the previous city attorney?
I'm gonna say it was around 2015.
Okay. I just want to follow up with them as well. Yeah, I will look into the city's obligations here. But
You want to look under the building codes, international codes, we're just gonna say the city, if you adopted the codes, then you guys are obligated to
Sure.
find any violations of those. And I know you guys contract out to your inspectors, and that's Metro West, and I know that it's changed hands and then one, but Rob was the inspector at the time he signed the COC, and he came out in 2011. So,
yeah, I'll look at those codes. I'll let the city council know about
Okay.
what should be done or not done.
and you can talk to Charlie Derberger down at the Department of Industry and Ken Peterson, the commissioner as well.
I will talk to Charlie. I know.
They know me very well.
Okay, yeah, I'll look into it.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So you'll just let us know when we find out then, Tom?
Yeah, I'll research the standards and everything. I just want to make sure, you know, the private sale, I want to make sure that the city, whether, you know, what obligations they have, that we're compliant with them. So I'll just look into what those are under the building codes and international codes that you're saying. I'll talk to Charlie Durenberger, and I'll let you guys know.
Yeah, the drain tiles, FYI, are damaged, and we don't know if they were ever put in. That's why the water built up under as well. There's two issues. One was the drain tiles, and one was the air exchange. And the air exchange is a huge part because that's where people get their indoor air quality. And if that's not properly put in, that's where everything sits there in a brand new house. All the brand new materials sit there. So for 10 years, we were breathing in the same air unless we opened up the windows. And we didn't realize this until 2011 when we started noticing molding on the walls, the windows, and it just got worse. So we had no choice but to walk away from the house.
All right, thanks, Tom. All right, now we can go to service line warranty program overview.
Good evening, thanks for having me in. I met with Sean maybe about a month ago or so. My name is Derek Fruitman. I'm with the firm I represent is Utility Service Partners, and we're the administrator for the National League of Cities Service Line Repair Program. So what I'm talking about is the portion of water sewer lateral that a resident is responsible to repair should they have an issue. So the NLC looking at having a program of this nature, looking at aging infrastructure, just education in general, just some homeowners don't know. If they have a problem, they maybe call the city looking for assistance. Whereas, most cities say, hey, you gotta call a contractor and kind of fix it on your own. So this is a program to help a resident out that has an issue. Basically, we ask that the city partners with us. We administer the entire program for you, so we couple 2-3 times a year. It's done through public awareness campaign. Letters go out, educate residents on the responsibility that they can choose to enroll in a service line plan if they want to. It's 100% voluntary. Should they have an issue, they call us. We dispatch a local plumber. They go out, make the repair, whatever that may be. Maybe a root intrusion, let's say on a sewer line, or broken water line, et cetera. They'll make the repair, and then all the costs are deferred to us, so there's no out-of-pocket for the homeowner. So it's an insurance warranty type product. As I mentioned, we do all the marketing, all the mail costs is on us. There's no cost to the city to have this program. We work with close to 500 partners across the U.S., 450 municipalities across the U.S., and getting close to 20 municipalities here in Minnesota. The last two recent cities that enrolled were Watertown and Mountain View, Minnesota. And so I'm here tonight just to kind of give council a brief overview of the program, and if there's interest to consider it, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have now. But this may be something worth looking at. We're on the business council for the LMC as well. We also work with, are endorsed by another 7 to 8 state league associations around the country. Documented in the handout kind of outlines just some of the features of the program. So every time a resident calls, they get $8,000 towards the repair on a water or sewer line. And that would handle 99.9% of all claims that come in. So the nice thing is we wouldn't have any out of pocket should a resident have an issue. The program is only available through a partnership with the city. We don't go out and market the program on our own. It's done through the city. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer if you do.
So it costs the city nothing, and you promote all of this?
Yes, there's no cost to the city. We do all the administration of the program for you. That includes the marketing of the program, enrollments, contractor recruitment, renewals. We provide a portal back to the city as well, so you can see all the jobs that come in as well, so you have a window. And we provide an account manager for the city, so if you have any day-to-day questions about the program, we have instant access for you.
Council, I'll just chime in here. I did, Sean provided me the contract to review it. And yeah, that's correct, that there's no cost built into the contract for the city. The consideration on the part of the city, and you can correct me if I'm mistaken, the consideration on the part of the city is that the city would grant a license to use city letterhead, city logos and all that. And that would be the consideration on the part of the city entering into this contract. And then you guys would be kind of doing all the work, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So every partner that we have, it's an affinity marketing relationship. So we use logo of the partner, so that would include municipal seal, where we use that for all our partners. And so that's really the ask in the contract is from the marketing aspect. That's the only obligation of the city. You guys review all the information that would get sent out. So the cornerstone of the program is through direct mail, through the campaign letter. So the city approves all that prior to any launch. And every campaign that goes out, you guys approve all of that. So there's nothing that anybody receives that you guys wouldn't approve prior to that. So it's not like you would partner with us and then we just, start sending stuff out. Everything's approved by the city prior. Cost range is anywhere from $5.75 a month to $9.99 a month, just depending on the plan that a resident purchases.
But the resident's got to purchase.
Yeah, it's voluntary. So the water service line is $5.75 a month. The sewer plan's $7.75 a month. The in-home plumbing plan's $9.99 a month. That's with the revenue component built in for the city. So the city, there's a non-core revenue component. So a portion of that comes back to the city as a royalty. If the city didn't want the royalty, we just reduced the price point to the homeowner by 50 cents per month, just to the lowest cost available. So the low cost would be $5.25 a month, $7.25, $9.49, if that makes sense.
be some residents that wouldn't join up until they have a problem.
Yeah, so, you know, we have a 30-day wait, so if they had an issue, they could sign up, but if they could, you know, if it wasn't causing them too much of an issue, they'd have to wait 30 days to file a claim. And after that, you can file, you know, as many as you want. Each time you call, it's per occurrence, you get $8,000 towards a repair. You can cancel any time, obviously, so you could, you know, have a claim and then get, you know, have us come out and do the job and send a contractor out, and then you could cancel. There's no, you know, there's no penalty to do that. There's no deductible. There's no call-out fee. So the only thing that the homeowner has into it at that point is what they paid into, you know, to have the plan. So, like I said, I've, you know, here in Minnesota, we have close to 20 partners. A lot of the traction that I'm having in Minnesota, I'll be back in the next few weeks doing other council presentations as well with other cities. So I thought tonight just kind of briefly introduce it, kind of give you the 30,000 foot overview, and then, you know, if you were interested in possibly enrolling, you know, I can help the city do that.
Do you have any feedback from like the local towns that you work with?
I can get, if you wanted references, I can provide references to some of the Minnesota communities, and you could certainly reach out.
Yeah, I see that you have St. Michael and Watertown, I think we're the closest around here by us.
Yeah, Watertown just enrolled in, I believe it was June or July. And I'm not sure if we've officially launched with them just yet, but, because they just, like I said, they just recently enrolled, so. And then Mountain View enrolled just last week. So we haven't launched with them yet.
How long have you been with St. Michael?
I don't know. I can get you the, I think it's St. Louis Park is on the list there. They've been a partner for over 10 years. St. Michael, I don't know.
Okay. That's fine.
I think it's been within the last couple of years, is my guess.
Any questions? You guys want to move forward? Or?
No.
Well, because it's basically like an insurance policy, you know, the homeowner to decide.
Well, and it sounds really similar to a plan like through Xcel Energy, where you write the home service plus plan essentially that you can get. So if something breaks, then your appliances are still covered. And I think in our community it would be a good benefit for us.
What's the process?
Correct.
You know, this was quite a few years ago, but it was $750 to get the true rates out of our sewer line. And that was, you know, not an emergency either, so.
And that's covered.
It would have been, that would have
The
been nice
streets,
to have.
you know, those tend to keep reoccurring depending on the season, and that's covered. Now, depending on, you know, if we can reroute a line around that might be something that we would look at doing in certain cases so that doesn't keep happening, but I mean, that's a covered repair. So $750, you know, I mean, some people don't have that in the budget, you know, so this is why this program's been so popular through the NLC and other cities have signed up, so. But again, it's your guys' decision on how you want to proceed. I just wanted to give you guys the information tonight, and, you know, if you wanted to move forward, that's fine. If not, you know, I understand, so. But I'll be around the next, you know, few weeks, so if there's any questions, I'm more than happy to come back and answer those or whatnot. Okay?
Unless you guys want to just go ahead and move forward with this.
I think,
I would be comfortable with that, but.
I was gonna say that, you know, I'd like to put it off to next month, do a little research and, you know, let us do some of our own checking and, you know, put it on next month's agenda if you guys are okay with that.
I would go along with that.
Then on the agreement, if you have red lines or anything that you want to look at between now and then, you guys can either work with Sean or whatnot to get it to me, and then, you know, if we need to huddle up on a conference call with, you know, our in-house legal, we can do that. We're pretty flexible, so just let us know.
Yeah. And I will say that, like,
the agreement that I reviewed, it's a legally sound agreement.
Yeah.
You know, council needs to determine the terms and if they're covered with the terms of that agreement, but from a legal standpoint, I didn't see any particular issue except for we would need to update the signature block, but that's easy enough. And you know, if this council's interested in moving forward, I can certainly give it a finer run through, but as I read it when Sean provided it to me, I didn't see any issues with it. I just want to make you guys aware of sort of that licensing issue, because I think it's a consideration on the part of the city, and so that's about it. That's all I really noticed.
Okay.
One added feature that wasn't mentioned, that being that it is in Minnesota, there is a potential for service lines to freeze, especially when there's no snow cover and temperatures get very, very cold. This is also covered under that also.
That's correct.
So we're moving to table this till next month?
I would say.
Okay. You guys okay with that? All right, so we will table the service line warranty for this meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Good job.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Wright County Sheriff's Department. Meetings of council.
I'll go. I attended Montrose Day celebration meeting, Beyond the Yellow Ribbon, special meeting that we had before here, and the fire department. And I want to thank the fire department for allowing me to come out and watch the work with the bus. That was great to see you guys working in there, and some of the overachievers that we have here in the crowd with getting stuck in bus seats. So I won't mention your name, but thank you.
Council meetings, special meetings, EDA, planning and zoning, and chamber of commerce.
Ooh, did you go? How'd it go?
It was okay.
Did you have good lunch? Did you have good lunch?
It wasn't too bad.
All right. I attended personnel, park and rec, meetings with Herzog's, council, staff meetings, we did interviews, 49ers, fire chief interviews, Highway 12, and planning and zoning.
I attended personnel, special meeting before this. There was several meetings with the Montrose on the Move committee and the dinner that was had out at the 12 High Park. I was not able to attend Montrose Days last night. I had Ben go on my behalf. I think that was it.
Well, I don't have my calendar here, but I know the council meeting, the special meeting before this, the interviews, here be on the Yellow Ribbon meeting, Bark in the Park on Saturday. I think that was it.
All right, we are on to administration.
First item on here is Resolution 2017-21. This is our annual assessment of unpaid utilities. There's a list of the unpaid utilities that generally shrinks by a great number. A letter goes out to everybody. So it's anybody that's got a utility account over 45 days old. Letter goes out, so a lot of them get taken care of before it ever goes to the county. It goes to the county by November 30th, I believe it is. So the letter goes out. Once you do the resolution tonight, I send them another letter to remind them. So generally, it's taken care of before that. Usually we only have a few that get assessed. So I just need a motion to approve the resolution.
So I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2017-21.
I'll second.
that. You give it to me.
All right, Ben,
Aye.
Melissa. Aye. Lloyd.
Aye.
Jill. Aye. Alva. Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
Second resolution is because of a change in staff. The bank requires a resolution to remove Margaret McCollum from the signature card and to add Dale Powers. So this is just a resolution authorizing that.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2017-22, a resolution authorizing a change to the bank signature cards.
I'll second. Ben?
Aye.
Lloyd?
Aye.
I will vote aye. Jill?
Aye.
Melissa? Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Kevin?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. In your packet is the activity report from September. Nothing too out of the ordinary for us this past month, so it's been slow just like the whole year so far. So the acknowledgements on it, just to note them, firefighter Jeff Daniels, he resigned, and thanking him for his 10 years of service. Red's Cafe for allowing us to park one of our trucks at their lot during September 11th. Terry Vanderbeek had completed firefighter 2 certification, and then Montrose Public Works for helping us set up our bus and auto education training that happened last month. So that's all I have on that matter. The next item in the agenda is October Fire Prevention Month. Every year, second week in October is Fire Prevention Month. Every year, the NFPA, National Fire Protection Association, gives a theme that is supposed to be portrayed out to citizens, communities, and that we're supposed to teach. This year's theme that they have is every second counts, plan 2 ways out, which means in a fire, you don't have a whole lot of time. Sometimes your primary way out is not going to work for you, so you should have 2 plans of exit from every place that you have. This week, firefighters will be meeting with Montrose Elementary School students throughout the week for station tours and fire prevention and education presentations. So we try to hit every kid that goes to the schools. So that's what we'll be doing all this week. So that's all I have on that. And then resignation of firefighter Ryan Lazenby effective 10/4/17. Ryan came to us in October 31st of 2014, so he has 2 years and 11 months. He recently just purchased a new house on the other side of Delano in Independence. So he is no longer eligible to be in the fire department, so he is leaving us. He is joining Delano Fire Department by the sounds of it, so we'll need a motion to get his resignation through.
I'll make a motion to accept Ryan's resignation.
I'll second that.
All right, Jill? Aye. I will vote aye. Lloyd?
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Right, thank you, that's all I got.
Thank you. Brew?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We've got the minutes from our last meeting in front of you. We had Bark in the Park this last Saturday. That was a great event. Turnout was well over double from last year. And as part of that, we have a couple of thank yous that we would like to put out there. Old Brothers donated a sign for us to put up on the tennis courts. Varner's allowed us to use their sign to advertise up on the corner by Reds, which was awesome. Fire department came out and joined us, which was great. Boy Scouts provided some food there, which was awesome as well. The Public Works went really above and beyond. They moved some tables for us, they power washed, they made sure everything was in perfect order. Wendy remembered to put the reservation sign up for us, so everything went off perfectly. So thank you all very much, appreciate that. Next thing, sadly, we had Sylvie Henry tenure her resignation. She had a lot of years, not just on Park and Rec, but on other committees as well. We want to thank her for her years on the commission and ask you guys to accept the resignation. We need a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to accept Sylvia Henry's resignation from Park and Rec.
I'll second that motion.
Jill? Aye. I'll vote aye. Lloyd?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Great, thank you very much. We have lots of events coming up, so keep watching. Watch the social media pages, the Park and Rec page, because there's lots and lots of stuff coming up. Thanks for your support.
Thanks, Lauren. Thank you.
Justin?
Just an informational item for the council. Revisions to the AUAR document have been completed. We currently have the document out for public and agency comment. There's a minimum 30-day comment period for agencies and the public to comment on the revised document. So that deadline to submit comments is November 17th at 4 p.m. to City Hall. So it's been submitted to all the agencies per the Environmental Quality Board distribution guidelines. It's available on the city's website. Hard copy is also available at City Hall. So if anybody is interested in reviewing that and providing any comments, they are certainly welcome to do that, including council and planning commission. I did not make copies for everybody. If anybody wants a hard copy, I'd be more than happy to give you a copy, but it is a very, very large document, so I thought that rather than wasting a bunch of trees, I would make it available online, and if anybody wants a hard copy, I can give them one. Largely in the same, it's essentially similar document as what was approved last time, with primarily the biggest update being the projected growth forecast for the city based on our comprehensive plan update. So none of that is new information, it's all information that was approved in the comp plan. And then we went through each area and updated everything that needed to be updated as far as any new guidelines, as far as permitting, as far as any agency requirements, MPCA, Department of Health, MPCA wastewater permit for the wastewater plant, et cetera, et cetera. So that's in a nutshell. There's a little bit more information in your packet, including a cover letter that was sent to all the agencies.
How often do we have to go through this, Justin?
In order to remain in effect, it's every 5 years.
Didn't we just do this a couple years ago?
No.
I thought we did when they had
No, you approved it, I think it was earlier this year, the updating. It hasn't been updated since actually 2000, since it was approved in 2008, I believe it was. So it's actually out of, technically right now, it would not be able to be used. It would have to be updated and approved before it could be used for what it was to be used for, as far as taking the place of an EAW for a developer. Yep.
And you said the residents have a chance to?
It's available for comment, yes. It was posted in the Rate Journal Press. So anybody that wants to comment can comment on it, yes.
And do they comment like at City Hall or here?
At City Hall. They submit written comments to City Hall.
Oh. Okay.
And then after we receive all the comments, we will look through the comments and address the comments, either by responding to the comments or modify the document as fit, and then it'll go to you for final approval.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Personnel Committee. Go ahead, Jill. Okay.
So we met last Monday, October 2nd at 3. There was discussion about the fire chief position and applications. I won't comment on that because I wasn't a part of it. I think that's up on the next agenda for personnel anyways, so we'll talk about it then. The one point I want to hit on is the personnel committee membership. There was comments last month at the council meeting about whether all information at personnel was being disclosed at a council meeting. And after some thought and consideration, I wanted to push it out to others. If you feel like there's something being hidden, I feel like what better way to determine that nothing's being hidden than be there. So I am willing to step back from the personnel committee membership if somebody else is interested in stepping up. So that those accusations don't continue to come forward. Because I don't think they were fair and I don't think they were just, but they were said. So if somebody else wants to take the place, they certainly can, but I do know that this meeting for last week was posted as a public meeting so that any other council members could attend and nobody else did, so.
You're going to post their meeting?
No. Not, we normally typically wouldn't, unless, you know, it's a quorum of 3. I mean, everybody's obviously invited to come, and We have extended that offer on multiple occasions, even at the beginning of the year. Even when the previous mayor was here, the meetings were posted, and I was the only one that would attend as outside of council besides the appointed personnel. At the beginning of the year, we had it as 5 council members could attend at any time. That's how it was originally. And nobody attended. So that's why we kind of changed it and moved it back down to the 2. We did want 3. We can absolutely go with 3. But there was an issue back with our old city clerk treasurer not wanting 3. But we're more than willing to go to 3 because everything that's here, as Jill has stated, is we sent, the agendas are sent out, the minutes are always in your packet. And we did put the invite out last week. I know Wendy sent out an invitation or the agenda, posted it as a quorum, and we still had nobody attend except for myself and Jill. So.
If you want to go to 3, I'll attend.
Is anybody else interested in, I did talk to you, Ben, and you're kind of busy, so whatever,
Yeah, a little bit.
Melissa?
Possibly. Just because it's posted though doesn't mean that, make every single one. Granted, community is a little different, but I don't think just because everybody doesn't show up every time doesn't mean that we should not post it. Or if you just post it once and nobody shows up, that nobody's interested.
So are we, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's more than just attending one meeting a month, because I know you, and once my life settles down with the orchard, I will go back to the meetings with Public Works. Before Maggie had left, I met with her every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. every week to go over her weekly duties and how things were going, and if she had any questions, and if we had anything coming up. So I just want to be clear that it is more than just one meeting per month. There are additional duties that come with being on personnel, and I think that just goes with being on personnel, I guess, for lack of a better way to explain it.
But is some of that necessary? Weekly.
Yes, we have a personnel meeting once a month, which is the first Monday of the month. We have our Monday council meetings. We meet with the 49 union every 3rd Monday of the month. And then, the 4th Monday is really kind of open. So every 3 weeks, for sure, you're meeting with somebody. And as Jill stated, she was meeting with Maggie, just because it worked with her schedule to do that. She had a great rapport with Maggie, so that worked.
But, okay, the 49ers is one thing, but what is the point? Was there an issue that required us to meet, or somebody to meet every week with Maggie? What is?
We can't get into that because that's employee confidential stuff.
Yeah. But like I'm saying, is some of that, will that be necessary in the future now that she's not
Well, I
here?
think with having a new staff member on, I think it's going to be incredibly critical.
That's one thing, because we do have someone new, but I feel that the personnel committee is creating more work than is always necessary. Sometimes it is necessary, that's one thing, but that's just my opinion.
So as Jill stated, there is a new member to our staff, and more than likely I will be meeting with him for sure once a week, if not a couple times a week. We do meet. It is a necessity to meet and stay in contact with our staff, whether it is Wendy, Sean, and now Dale, as well as our Public Works crew. I think what Jill and I have been doing these last few months has really helped the city, and it is important that we do it, you know, it is something, we're not creating more work because, as Jill stated, we're all very busy. You know, we don't create meetings just to go to meetings. These meetings are here to keep the city functioning and to continue to just build a relationship with our staff. That's what these are all about. So you're more than welcome to come. If you want, we can continue to post it.
Yeah, I don't see why we shouldn't be posting it just in general.
Right, I mean, nobody saw that as an issue before because multiple times I asked Maggie to post it and none of you stood behind that months ago. Because Lloyd here fought to be on the personnel committee for the first 6-8 months and have that third person, and we're like, Maggie, let's just post it, everybody can come, and she didn't want to do it. So you guys weren't backing it then, but now you seem to think that there's something hidden. So, I mean, am I right in that?
Yeah, but
So
I was in favor of
the council is.
I was in favor of it when all of us were on it, and I was there until we only did it once or twice, and then it was decided that it would be better as 2.
Right, because that came from our former, the attorney and Maggie, our former employee. That it was too much to continue to post.
I think part of the concern with it being open every month is
The council meeting.
is that that's when it becomes a council meeting, and there is information discussed from time to time that does relate to employee confidentiality, right? And so it was, I believe, and I could be incorrect, but I believe it was recommended that we keep it at less than 3 so that a quorum isn't present, so that all of those matters can be discussed at the time of the personnel meeting. Tom, do you have an opinion on 2 versus 3 versus 5?
well, I mean, yeah, from an open meeting standpoint, you hit the nail on the head. If you decide that you're going to have 3 or more council members attend the personnel meeting, then you need to comply with all the open meeting laws, the notices, the agendas all need to be posted. Not necessarily saying that it's better one way or another, but you are correct that once you break that quorum, then those are the requirements that you have to meet. And precisely as you said, if there's any employment matters that come up that relate to employee conduct, employee discipline, then we would have to close that meeting during that discussion period, which again, it's ultimately a decision the council has to make, but those are certainly considerations to take into account.
Any further discussion?
I have none.
Any suggestions?
I say post.
We go ahead and post all the meetings? You show up, you show up. That's fine with me. All right.
Melissa, do you want to take over?
It is seriously a commitment of 3 Mondays every month, 3 o'clock.
It's not the Monday problem, but yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I mean, well, I would like to see them posted because I do not want to see Jill step down from it.
I think they should still be posted.
Right, well, she's asking you to take her place, is what she had asked you.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's fine if she doesn't want to do it, but I still think that they should be posted regardless of who's on there. So that if she wants to attend or anybody else wants to attend, that they have that option.
I'm not saying I want to step down, but I don't feel that the accusations put forth last month were just or fair. And I know that nothing's hidden at personnel committee meetings. And so if you want to see firsthand what really happens and what occurs and the fact that nothing's being hidden, I am willing to step back. I'm not saying I want to step back. I love what I do on personnel, but I'm willing to.
Well, and that's, no, I mean, I'm not saying that you have to, I mean, just get the, no, you certainly don't have to, I think we could post.
Okay, I'll let you can make sure starting next month, first Monday of the month, we have the meetings posted and the agenda sent out.
Will do.
Thank you.
If I may, council, I would ask or suggest that you guys consider changing the name of the committee.
To the second council meeting of the month.
Just changing the name from personnel to staff, I mean, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
That's all I have.
What would we like to call it? It's not staff. It's not a staff meeting.
Let's brainstorm on it. We'll come back to it.
We'll get back to you, Dale.
For the-
That's your first task, Dale. Good new name.
All right, we will move on then to the appointment of the fire chief. I'll let you go, Ben.
Sure. So, the other day, Michelle and I met with two candidates, Tom and Kevin. Did interviews with them, listened to what, had a couple questions for them, talked with them some, reviewed credentials from them. Then after we had the interviews with the two of them, then we sat down and the firefighters themselves were given each an anonymous questionnaire, voting for who they would like to see as fire chief, and then their first choice, their second choice, then giving pros and cons to what they felt about each person. And then at that point, we're going to return those back to them for constructive criticism type deals, so that way they can use this as a learning tool also, no matter what the outcome is. Just being, having the fact that you can get input from people and not, anonymously, to me is a good thing, because you can be more honest about it, about what you feel and what you see. So we did the interviews. Michelle and I talked we were there for another half hour, 45 minutes after reading them. And then we did decide to continue with Kevin as the fire department chief. I'd like to thank both of you, though, for coming and doing the interviews. It was not exactly an easy choice to make. There's positives on both sides, but ultimately that was the choice that we made.
Okay, and I do want to thank again both of you for taking the time to interview with us. It was, like Ben had said, it was a tough choice. You're both very good candidates. And Ben will hand you the feedback from your firemen. And if you both just take the time to take a look at it and just take it as good construction, just kind of work together and so we need to make a motion. Yes.
I will make a motion to reappoint Kevin Triplett as fire chief.
We need to add that it's a 2-year term. Or a 2-year term?
For a 2-year term.
That's hard. I will second that. Lloyd?
No.
Ben?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Jill?
Can I vote?
Do you want to abstain? That's up to you.
I can vote.
No, I would.
I would abstain.
You have a connection, yeah, I would abstain.
Minor does.
Okay. And I will vote aye, so it's 3, 1, and 1. 3,
Sorry, you're
a
right.
1, and a 1. Okay, count this one.
Hold on.
Count
I
5.
don't remember how.
Okay, all right. So, welcome Kevin for another 2 years. And now we need to have a motion to appoint Dale Powers as our new city clerk treasurer. I'll make that motion, I guess, to appoint Dale.
I'll second it.
I will vote aye. Jill?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
Emily?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Planning and zoning.
Who seconded?
Lloyd? Who's got planning and zoning?
I can take it real quick.
Okay.
So they met on September 20th. The only item on their agenda was the discussion about semi-tractors in the residential district. So city planner Mark has put in the minutes, has the discussion with the residents and the audience members. And ultimately, at the end of the discussion, all the commissioners agreed that at this time the city should keep the parking regulations as they are already written in the ordinance. Meeting was adjourned at 7:36, so it was very short.
All right, old business, rules of civility. This is on the agenda due to the fact that a few months back, this was brought to staff's attention, just to kind of bring this back, have our commission members take a look at this, sign this, and we actually had the Park and Rec Commission. They received a copy of this, they signed it, but the problem was it was not on city letterhead, so they were not really comfortable with signing it. So in the packet here, you will see what it exactly is, and this is a smaller version of, we have the big ginormous sign that we normally have on occasion we have at council meetings, and this is just basically, it went out to Park and Rec, it'll go out to planning and zoning this next week and a half actually, and now council. So, are we signing this? Is that the plan? Yes. Okay.
On the letterhead copies of here.
Yeah. So if the council just takes the time to take a look at this, sign it, and then we just hand it back to now Dale. That's pretty short and sweet on that one. Any questions or concerns on it?
I just have a question. Who
Yes.
crafted this?
This was drafted way, like 10 years ago. I don't.
Surprise, surprise.
It's just something that was brought up again by a commission member on one of our boards, just to kind of bring it back and just a reminder to listen to everybody, be courteous and pretty short and sweet actually.
Well, it was originally drafted to intimidate people. Now, since that dictatorship is partly broken up, how about coming up with something new on your own?
I think it's pretty self-explanatory though, we allow to hear all point of views, we listen to all of our speakers, speakers are permitted to talk.
Well, I lived through all that.
Right?
This was all written up years ago to give the impression that Montrose was open, transparent, ta-da-da-da-da-da, when it meant nothing.
can we see what other cities have? I know we're not the only city that has something in place such as this. Will we be able to look up other cities and see what they have their commission members and city council members sign? And perhaps we can update this one to reflect more commonplace language.
Yeah, there are several cities that have something similar to this, including the one I just left. Not quite as detailed as this. My initial thought is the gentleman's comments were probably in violation of at least number 8 on this list. And while certainly recognizing, his concerns, and far be it for me to comment on something having been here for less than 24 hours. I think that regardless of when this was drafted, a lot of it has to do with the people that the citizens of this town have elected. And it's, you have to hold their feet to the fire. And if the language that's in this document was good 10 years ago, it should still be good now. And I think we would all do good to recognize that we all are in this for one reason, to try to make this town a better place to live.
Well, I totally agree with you. And welcome to Montrose. Let's hope you're a breath of fresh air. I'm optimistic, thank you.
I'll do my best.
Thank you.
So are we going to be looking into keeping it this way or looking at other cities to see what they draft?
Can do both. This is not written in granite, last I checked. It's going to always be changed, and probably, when there's new council members or every other year when after you're sworn in, probably wouldn't be a bad idea to review this policy as well as any other types of policies that deal with not only public participation but council participation as well. I certainly, this is far from the only city that has some trust issues, and a lot of it takes time. I mean, you can't wave a wand and have people trust one another. It's just each interaction, builds a foundation of trust. That doesn't mean you can't have your political disagreements, but it does mean you have to understand that just because someone disagrees with you doesn't mean that they hate you. Just because they disagree with you, it doesn't mean they're going to disagree with you on the next issue. And I think it's all important to at least try to give people the benefit of the doubt until they clearly demonstrate they haven't deserved it. Does that make sense?
Okay, so where are we at on this? Keeping it the way it is and just sign it and go?
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm good with that. Y'all good with that? We don't need a motion, do we? No. All right. So yeah, if you guys just, Wendy, we'll have it, or well, actually it'd be Dale. Down to Dale, after we sign it, take them. The ones. Or,
There's an official one.
right, the official one. Okay. The flying's doing it for you. There is no new business, so upcoming meetings is planning and zoning meeting at the community center 7 p.m. on October 18th. EDA at community center November 13th at 6 o'clock. Acknowledgements. We will go through and acknowledge firefighter Ryan Lazenby for his 2 years and 11 months of service with the fire department. Sylvia Henry for her many years of service on Park and Rec. I'm going to acknowledge Park and Rec for Barton Park. They did a great event. It was good to see such a wonderful turnout and the hard work that they did for that. I'm a fire department, Kevin Triplett. Joe is still here, and was it Terry? Correct? That was also attended the Barton Park and the Neighborhood Watch group that was out. I do want to say, Joe, you did a great job with the presentation that you gave them. They were all very impressed.
Thank you.
So thank you for that. And of course, Tom Marketon for putting his interest in for being fire chief. That's all I got for tonight. Anybody else?
I think you covered all of them, Michelle.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye. All right.